Hello, everyone. Welcome back for some more Let's Read Higurashi. For the first time, we did a mid-chapter save because we have to dispose of a body, and I'm really worried. And this whole time, it's been a little bit since I recorded because other games came out. I've been thinking, what the frick are we gonna do about the body? So, let's take a look and see what awaits us on our adventure in getting rid of the body. Well, first we have to go home, though. The lights at home were dazzlingly bright. Suddenly, they reminded me of how hungry I was. Oh, buddy, now's not the time for the hunger-based distractions. See, I'm the type who, if I'm busy, I will just not eat for a long time. I think about the first time I went to Japan, and I had to remind myself to eat because I was just so interested in being in Japan. I checked the clock and, oh wait, it's only 7? I thought we were at 2 in the morning. Okay, that greatly recontextualizes things. I swore it was so late. Buddy, that's that's a time, well, I guess people have supper. Checked the clock and saw it was almost 7. Oh, well, okay. Okay, oh, thank God I'm not the only one. I thought for sure it was 2 or 3 in the morning already. I was surprised at how messed up my biological clock had gotten just from this one night. There was a warm light coming from the curtains in the living room window. The worlds between here and what was beyond those curtains were so different. If only that man hadn't shown up, I would have been in that light. I'd still be excited from the festival, and I'd be talking to my parents about how much fun I had with all my friends. And then, even though they made a hot meal for me, I would have eaten way too much at the stalls, barely eaten anything, and gone back to my room. No doubt I'd crawl into my futon and easily let myself fall asleep. But right now, I was completely different. There wasn't a single ember of warmth from those weak streetlights. Right now, I was unconnected to any time spent with my family, and there was neither warm food nor the time to allow myself to sleep. My body exposed to the cold rain, I knew that I simply had to spur myself on to accomplish what I must. I realized how timid, how cowardly I was becoming. For what purpose? Did I need to kill someone so badly that it was worth feeling this terrible? I'd lost sight of that purpose. I selected the fastest, most fundamental way of saving Satoko, and executed it without hesitation. That man was dead. He was gone. He would never, ever hurt Satoko again. Alright, so listen, I am slightly terrified that we're gonna wake up and the next day he won't be dead. And we'll beg the question, but then who was Kill? I'm scared that might be what happens. I don't think it will be, but I'm scared. We all fought frantically for days on end about Satoko's problem, and finally, with no options, we gave up. And I'd solved it in one night. By myself, without anyone's help. Right about now, Satoko would be making dinner for her uncle, despite not knowing when he'd return. And she might be spending the night trembling in fear of whether he'd yell at her for how it tasted. But her uncle wouldn't come home. She wouldn't have to fear his wrath, nor let him make her feel sad. I see. I did it. I successfully saved Satoko. All I've been thinking about for a long time was killing that man. I'd forgotten the feeling that it was actually all to save her.
そっか
I did something good. That's right. I did something good, didn't I? I felt hot tears coming from my eyes. And that's when I first realized that the exhaustion I've been feeling was actually guilt. The blade of guilt. For a while now, I'd just been scraping away with its tip, hurting my heart. It hurt so bad I couldn't stand it. It was throbbing painfully. It hurt so much. It was so painful that I cried. I cried tears of joy at saving Satoko. I didn't know why really anymore. I just cried. My tears fell and fell. As I stood there for a while, coming to terms with those warm tears, my heart was comforted a little. All right, Keiichi Maibara. That's enough. There's nothing to regret or feel ashamed about. Both my mind and body were thoroughly exhausted, and that was a fact. It was only natural I couldn't feel anything. Even tomorrow and the day after that, I might not be able to feel anything for a while. But there was one thing that was true. There was the indisputable fact that I had saved Satoko. One day we would surely be rewarded. One day I would be proud of how distressing an enterprise I had undertaken to get Satoko's smile back. And so that I could wait for that day, I had to put the finishing touches on this night. I left it undone. Everything I'd accomplished today would be for naught. I looked back, up at the sky, which didn't look like it would stop raining anytime soon. And I rubbed my eyes and summoned forth energy from my core again. How long did I plan on spacing out? This isn't the time for daydreaming. Someone could find that corpse this very moment. That pessimistic thought was proof the very natural emotion of fear had returned to me. As I allowed the fear to spur me onwards, I went to look for the other shovel and the lantern inside the storage room. It was fortunate. I remembered what it looked like around the streetlight, around the streetlight the body was near. With how dark it was quite possible I wouldn't have been able to look for it either. I didn't realize that when I left the place, so the idea of memorizing the spot hadn't even crossed my mind. And that's why I had to call it fortunate that I managed to get back to the body like this. The corpse was now located in a big muddy pile. The kind of muddy pile you'd see in those YouTube videos that have now been taken down of Japanese schoolgirls falling in mud face first, with a big plopping sound and getting stuck in them. You know the ones. If you look up Japanese girl falling in mud on Discord GIFs, you can still find the GIFs of it, even though the fact that the videos have been taken down now, but they did at one point exist. Anyways, half the thing had already sunk into the swamp-like pool of water. I only realized afterward, but there was an unused irrigation channel right nearby clogged with fallen leaves and dirt, and there was rainwater flowing in from there. My shoes had been awash with water for a long time now, so without any hesitation, I stepped into the puddle. Oh, that's the worst feeling. When you're so, when you're already so wet that you're just like, I don't care anymore. And you're just like, freaking just whatever. What's more wetness at this point? I also hate wet clothes, so this is kind of killing me on the inside. Luckily, the whole muddy stream washed it all away. I couldn't leave any traces, any slight traces like bloodstains. The rain was like a blessing from heaven. I checked around me, paying very close attention, and then turned off the lantern. It became pitch black, but my eyes got used to the darkness in a few moments, and once I managed to reach a streetlight on the other side, I was able to make out even faint lights. Now, here's the thing. If you wanted to be really smart about this, what you would have done... Now listen, this is like top tier, right? This is like super killer mode. He should have kept one eye closed, or put on an eye patch, that also works, the whole time he was using the lantern, so that then, when he was done with the lantern and turned it off, he would switch to the other eye, and it would already be used to darkness, and it would actually be better. Mythbusters proved that one. That's what pirates did, and that's why some of them had eye patches. I stuck the shovel into the puddle right next to the corpse. The ground was even looser here than I thought, and the shovel's tip easily slid inside. Well, yes, that's what water does to it. I had to hurry and dig. If I took too much time, I might lose my energy and strength again. Yeah, well, the fear of getting arrested should make it so that, you have the energy. I felt almost like digging a hole in the sand at the beach. It was easy to dig, but no matter what, the muddy water kept flowing in, covering the hole. The digging wasn't going as well as I'd hoped. I dug and dug, and the water would go in, so I couldn't get a sense of how deep it was. The only way for me to measure was to bury my own foot in the mud. I'm digging just fine. It's all right. Don't be disheartened. Dig, dig, dig. Trio, trio, trio. Occasionally a car would come by on the road, and I'd hurry to hide myself in the trees. Everyone was only passing through. They wouldn't have their eyes peeled in this kind of darkness. And if they're in their car, the lights of the car would mean they probably wouldn't even see you anyways. I understood it logically, but I still couldn't help but hide. What I really was scared of wasn't quite that one of those cars would coincidentally happen to witness me here. It was that the distance I could spot cars from was gradually getting shorter. At first, I noticed the splashing sounds from really far away as the cars drove through them. I started noticing them less and less, and with the car that just passed by, I didn't notice until its headlights were upon me. I felt my senses growing duller by the second. If someone were to take a peek in secret, as I was burying the body at the worst possible time, maybe I wouldn't even notice. The moment I thought that, I took a good look all around me. I roused all my half-asleep senses and searched for signs of presence nearby. What if I found out someone was spying on me from the trees? A carnivorous feeling snarled at me, glaring. If there was, then I would dig another hole. I'd come this far already. In order to achieve perfection, I didn't care how much more I had to pay. I didn't know what kind of face I was making at the time. It was definitely a fervently glaring one. My 5 senses reached the conclusion that nobody was present. I didn't breathe a sigh of relief. That's too loud. How long had I been digging this mud out here? It was deep enough for me to go up to my knees, which, compared to a person lying down, that should be deep enough, I would assume. Maybe this was enough. Maybe I'd throw the corpse in as a test. But he was a big fella. If his lying down stomach is above your knees, that's pretty bad, kiddo. For him, not you. I swallowed, getting my breathing under control. Despite how much I'd beaten him, I was afraid of touching the corpse. So instead, I dragged it by the feet to the hole. It took more than just a waggle and a tug to do it. But of course it did. Considering this man's weight was easily 80 kilograms. All right. To Google, 80 kilograms in pounds. That is 176 pounds. That is kind of light. 107... you know what? I'm sorry. I forgot. This is Japan, right? Because, 160... Are you serious? That's nothing. Like, okay. I don't want to say my weight, but it's more than that, and I don't think I'm that... Like, I'm big, but I'm not that big. So that's crazy. Also, I guess it's pretty heavy for this kiddo, but I rallied all my strength and dragged him. At this point, my groundless, Chris, he'd been digging, fears that he might suddenly start moving again had vanished long ago. Yeah, true, right? I was worried about that, but no, he's pretty dead. His body fit perfectly into the muddy hole. It was more than deep enough. All right, let's bury him. Quickly, quickly, quickly. Thankfully, burying is the easier part. If I did a perfect job of burying it here, everything would be over. Besides the smell of the rotting that might happen in a long time. I would hide it in the hole, and none of this would have ever happened. When I realized I only had a little farther to go to finish everything, I was racked with pointless anxiety, like I was in a race against time. It's like I was absorbed in a delusion that if I didn't bury the body quickly, it might come back to life. In any case, In a great rush, I poured mud and dirt into the hole. If I didn't work efficiently, someone might find me here. Until now, I figured if someone saw, I'd just kill them, but not anymore. I was arrested with such absolute fear that if someone saw me, it would all be over. As I finished the work off, it was a total mess. Splish, splash, squish, squash. I drew the surface of the shovel across the ground, trying to make it flat. Well, I mean, you don't have to worry too much about that. The rain will naturally do that over time. I was completely covered in mud at that point. The rain washed the mud off my body, but not off my now blackened clothing. Black as your soul, kiddo! No matter how much you scrub, that stuff ain't coming out. You know, once you have one body on, once you have one for your body count, it never changes, right? I hate the fact that body count now is used almost exclusively for, like, sex. Because, like, back in the day, if someone asked your body count, it meant how many people did you kill? So when I was in school and I heard someone say they had a body count of 7, I was like, oh my god, dude. You're a serial killer. He's like, no, I party. Like, what freaking parties are you going to? And then I heard, okay, I mean, so that's part one of that story. But now you hear these kids in high school that are like, yeah, I have a body count of 180. And I'm like, you don't even know 180 people. You liar. These kids lie like it's nothing. Anyways, my body and mind were caked with panic, with fear, with rain and sweat and mud. One of those is less problematic. You don't... The sweat ain't gonna be an issue, buddy. That's gonna go away real fast. Well, except maybe cold sweats. My shoulders heaving, I threw down the shovel and sat down in the mud. I was so exhausted that I wanted to lie down right here and sleep, which would be a bad move, buddy. Oh, the piano. It was over. This time. For real. It was over. The man was now in the bottom of the wet dirt. Right this moment, there were traces that this place had been dug up, but the rain and flowing muddy water would completely cover it all within moments. Yes. It was over. Okay, but no, that's deserved, buddy, that's deserved. And then I fell over backwards, face up in the mud. Raindrops pelted my face without mercy. But I didn't care. After staying there for a while, resting my mind, I got up again. It was over. So let's go home. You already buried the whole thing. So now it's like it's never happened. It never happened, so there's no reason for me to stay out here and get rained on. I wobbled to my feet. I wouldn't use the shovel anymore. I considered disassembling it, but I didn't have the strength in my absolute exhaustion. I didn't really need to take it apart anyway. Dragging the shovel behind me, I headed towards the light. I stood up my bike. It had been laying in the grass by the road. I didn't know how I was going to get the still assembled shovel into the front basket. I put the shovel down the back of my shirt like I'd done with the baseball bat. Unlike the bat, the corner of it was on my back, making it very painful. Plus, if I relaxed my posture even a little, it'll fall out behind me. I mean, like, I've ridden a bike before. I can't see this shovel being so big you can't just either put it across the handlebars or just... Oh, wow. Thank you, Tex. I ended up having to carry the shovel in my left hand and ride my hand using only my right hand. Yeah, I mean, I've done that before. It's not too bad. It's actually very easy to use one hand to bike. Whenever I would go bike riding, I would pretty much only use one hand. Not only was I in a state of total exhaustion, yeah, I mean, when you're just letting that other hand usually like dangle down, yeah. Also, this was a downpour. One hand on the handlebars. I was swaying to and fro like a drunk. But I didn't care. Even swaying like this, I got a little closer to home every time I pedaled. I saw it. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, don't get hit, buddy! I saw two lights swaying slowly in front of me. A car was approaching. Oh no, I need to get out of the way. From far away in the shadows of the darkness, a car appeared, and I swear to God, if it's... There's like 2 car people it could be. We know 2 people with cars. If they stop, and it's Coach, it's all okay, right? It's fine. There's no worries. If it approaches and I hear, oh yeah, you know, boy, oh, I'm gonna have an aneurysm. Its dazzling lights washed over me. The driver made a short honk of the horn to inform me I was in the middle of the road. I have to get out of the way. I kept telling myself that, but not only was I riding one-handed, I was exhausted, so I couldn't do anything. Uh-oh. Wobble, 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 wobble. I meandered about, not going to the right or the left. The driver decided to swerve out right in front of me, and without lowering his speed much, steadily came towards me. Its outline grew larger in my vision, and telling myself that I really needed to get out of the way, I jerked my handlebars in one direction, then lost my balance and fell over, bike and all. My whole body splayed out, and one foot got caught in the bike. This was seriously bad. My drowsiness quickly vanished, and just as a cold sweat broke out on my skin. Oh no. The driver recklessly spun the wheel to the left, made a counterclockwise U-turn, came right to me and stopped. The driver's seat door opened, and the driver came out. You idiot, what are you doing here? I was pretty sure someone would yell at me like that. Huh? Okay. It was a woman's voice, and one I knew. I lifted my face from the ground and looked at her.
Takano-san.
I'm still not used to the fact that you're alive. Hi, I'm dying. We know what that means, right? My Ace Attorney fans, we know, we heard what this means. My, fans of Fate, we know what this means, right? Why are you hitting on me? I'm a child! That, you right? We talked about that. Did she say the line? Did she say the line? Yep. Yeah, she literally said. Okay. Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, if you didn't watch any of those other videos, 1, what are you doing? Go watch them. I have so much content. But number 2, basically, this is a way that Japanese people secretly say I love you or that you're beautiful, is that they say that the moon is pretty tonight, right? I think this is just her being a teasing older woman, which, it's a strong archetype that would utterly make me fold like a bad poker hand, but Takano-san unfolded an umbrella and smiled as she spoke. That smile was, for some reason, uncanny, like she'd seen right through me. Out of all the people I could have met, I got the feeling this was the one I wanted to see the least. Buddy, one of them is a cop. One of them is a police officer who physically assaulted you. I don't think you are picking the right one. Boy stuff. All boys crave to play in mud. She had come here via car. She wouldn't have known what I was doing. And yet she smiled, as though she knew everything. Or is that just your inner worry speaking, buddy? Calm down, Keiichi Maibara. She always makes that mysterious-looking smile, remember? Don't let her on to anything, lest you, for lack of a better phrase, dig your own grave. Yeah. You ever heard of the movie Happy Gilmore? That's based on me. Except kind of, they got some things wrong. Have you ever heard about using a frying pan as a drying pan? I should tell a good lie here. If I could just do that, things would work out.
宝探しにダム現場に行った時にこれを忘れてきちゃったんですよ。
This was stuck in Colonel Sanders.
ふーん
Will Colonel Sanders ever come back? I'm seriously worried that Colonel Sanders will never be part of the plot again.
それをこの土砂降りの中取りに行ったわけ？
I love this shovel.
家を出た時は降るとは思いませんでしたので。
あら、降り出したのは結構前よ。
I'm bad with time.
あなたずいぶん前から表にいるのね。
I got lost.
まあほっつき歩いてましたから。
All boys are wont to wander.
それにしたってあなた向こうからこっちに向かってきたんでしょ？
You ever read One Piece? You know Zoro?
ダムとは場所も方向も正反対よ。
I'm incorrigible. Takano-san was clearly aware that something exceedingly abnormal was happening with me. And as she played her little word games, she enjoyed driving me into a corner. Maybe she had a vague guess just from the situation of what I'd been doing. My timing really sucked. To run into her of all people of all times. At the very end, I could only be frustrated at my terrible luck. I'd done so much. The end was literally right around the corner. So why at the very end, did I run into her of all people? What do you do, Keiichi Maibara? You're still holding something that could be a dangerous weapon. Will you silence Takano-san? Are we going for the double kill streak? Even if it would be simple to kill Takano-san, dealing with the car she'd come in afterward would be an issue. Also, she has people that love her, unlike the uncle. I couldn't drive a car. It was completely different from a motorbike. But even if the car was here, as long as there was no proof I killed her. Yes, in tonight's downpour, without any prior planning, all by coincidence, I hit and run. As long as I didn't drop any handkerchiefs with my initials on them, they would never know I killed her. A black flame quietly smoldered and raged in the core of my body. They call me the Count of Monte Cristo.
怖い顔。
Sorry. No, it's not.
いじめすぎちゃったかしら？
Takano-san started to laugh by herself, and thankfully stopped talking about it. But the dark clouds in my mind didn't go away.
それはそうと、いつまで自転車にまたがったまま地面に這いつくばってるつもり？そろそろどいてくれるかしら？
If I moved, she would leave. So I tried to get the bicycle up and out of the way, then twisted my ankle in it and fell over. There was a sharp pain in the ankle I'd twisted. This is nonsense. A sprained ankle
あ
now?
ら、大丈夫？ひょっとしてひねっちゃった？
Takano-san squats down and takes a good look at the ankle I keep rubbing. She compares it to my facial expression, apparently trying to gauge how bad the wound is. She is a nurse, we know this.
立てる？
I didn't expect to, but I couldn't even stand up. It was all I could do to shamelessly wriggle on the ground, like a caterpillar. Takano-san looked at her watch, then at her car, and after thinking for a moment, opened the passenger seat door. And then gave me her shoulder to stand up
家
on.
まで送るわ。
So, like, wow, you must be totally fine with your car seat getting utterly ruined by me.
なんだか私が跳ねたみたいで嫌な気持ちだけどね。
Can
すみません。
you put down a tarp first, or
ミステリ
feel
ー
like
も
you
気の
need
毒
to
だし、
feel like you need to do that, you know?
私が優しい人でよかったわね。
Nobody good has ever called themselves a nice person. But that would have been a terrible thing to say to someone holding me up like this. I took Takano's hands and sat in the passenger seat. Takano-san went around back and looked at my bike on the
自
ground.
転車は後日ってことにはならない？
Is that evidence? Oh. I could tell from her face that she thought it would be a pain since it would be heavy and it would get her car dirty. But my bike has the name Maibara written on it. I couldn't leave it out here like this.
なんとか車に詰めませんか？ないと困るんで。
トランクはもういっぱいなの。後部座席なんかに積んだらシートが泥で汚れちゃうわ。まあ、あなたを乗せた時点で。
Yeah.
もう十分
You're gonna need to pay for a
に汚れてるんだけれど。
full car cleaning anyways. I turn to the back seat and see someone's folding bike there already. It still looked big enough to fit my bike in there as well. My expression reflected my thoughts, and the exact thoughts seemed to get through to her.
わかったわわかったわ。積んであげる。今夜だけはお姉さんも優しくしてあげるわ。
Takano-san continued with her mean jokes, but she hoisted my bike and loaded it in the back seat for me. The mean jokes were one thing, but couldn't she do something about that eerie smile of hers? And even more importantly than the bike, I didn't want to leave the shovel here. The shovel could be directly connected to the buried body and to me.
ついでで申し訳ないんですけど、シャベルもお願いしていいですか？
That can be broken down and you can put it under the seat. Very easy. Takano-san gave me a clearly dubious
シャ
expression.
ベル？別にいいけど大事なもの？
I love this shovel. The more I talk, the worse it gets for me. That's how I felt, so I didn't force myself to answer her. Eventually outlasted by my silence, Takano-san gave a short shrug and sighed.
はいはいわかったわ。僕はシャベルがないと困っちゃうんでしょ。そんな怖い目しなくてもいいわよ。
Takano-san brought over the shovel that was lying in the middle of the road. I clutched it like I'd never let go of it again. Takano-san watched me with a puzzled look. I love this
じゃ
shovel.
あ行くわよ。前原くんのお家ってあの前原屋敷でいいんでしょ。
It's the logical thing, ma'am.
なんでみんなうちのことを前原屋敷って呼ぶんですか？
だって現にお屋敷じゃない。お金持ちが羨ましいわ。
As she spoke, Takano-san pulled the handbrake and stepped on the gas. After making a skillful U-turn using the shoulder of the road, she steadily increased in speed. From the rear-view mirror, that accursed place seemed to melt into the darkness.
慣れた？
Huh?
すみません。よく聞こえませんでした。今なんて？
Did she say I'm tired? Takano-san suddenly tried to say something to me, but thoughtlessly I didn't catch it. Looking at Takano-san, said the same thing one more time.
したい。上手に埋められた？
I thought my heart might beat out of my chest, but I didn't let it show. My lungs were squeezed tight and I couldn't breathe.
何を言ってるんですか？
こういう山奥に死体を埋めるとき
Oh no, she knows that this wasn't a miscommunication.
結構深く掘らないと野犬とかが匂いを嗅ぎつけて掘り返しちゃうことも多いのよ。
I didn't consider the wild dogs.
野犬が加えてた人骨で事件が発覚。警察一帯を山狩りへなんて結構ないことじゃないのよ。
Pound, pound, clang, clang. Huge rusted bells start ringing in my head. Had I buried it so deep I could say it absolutely wouldn't be found? The answer was no. I was in such a rush to bury and get it over with that I couldn't deny having possibly buried it too close to the surface. No, wait. That's not. Wait. Anyway, this woman. How does she know? She had just passed by here in her car by coincidence, and we ran into each other by coincidence. If she had been watching the entire things from the trees, and once I left, she came back in her car. It didn't make logical sense. So then, why? Ichimaibara, that's it, you need to kill her. My entire body reawakened and I could feel my pupils dilate. I couldn't possibly beat her dead with a shovel in such a small car. Then I would use my hands and strangle her. But she was driving right now. If I strangled her, we might get into an accident. Then, suddenly, Takano-san turned and looked at me. For a moment, I was surprised. What was she talking about? Wait, was she just making an ill-timed joke? Takano-san said, disappointed, returning her gaze ahead. I repeated the words she said a few times in my head and finally realized she meant it as an... She meant it as an off-color joke? I didn't know whether it was really a joke, but... I wouldn't be able to fool her no matter how many lies I told. Right now, with her driving the car like this, I couldn't kill her. I would have an even harder time doing it when we got back to my house. That moment we met, that had been my best chance, and to have missed it so easily. It hurt. After that, Takano-san didn't say a single word. The car was completely buried in an almost suffocating silence. What kind of woman had I run into? With everything that happened today, I managed to pull it off. The very end of it all, I just had to go home and go back to sleep. What bad luck. As my sleepiness gradually overtook me, the anxiety I felt suddenly started to matter. Less and less. Is this all right? Keiichi Maibara? You probably should not leave this woman alive. Right now, I'm tired. Oh, hi. Oh, no, I'm here. Here, don't worry. It's okay, dude. It's okay. She stepped on the brakes and I jerked against my seatbelt. That woke me up. Thought I must have fallen asleep by accident. I looked out the window. There was a big building with faint lights on. It's really dark out, but I immediately knew it was my house.
ご家族を呼んでくるわね。少しの間だけど、一人でお留守番できるかしら。
バカにしないでください。それにほら、もう大丈夫です。一人で歩けますから。
あらあら、さっきは痛そうな顔して肩まで借りたのに。
Shoulder carry, that's different.
ひょっとしてお姉さんに甘えてみたかったから。
As Takano-san spoke, she left the car and opened up her umbrella. The sound of falling raindrops was fierce as always. I carefully reached down and rubbed the ankle I'd twisted. There was still some pain and a little weirdness, but they weren't that bad anymore. Rather than being happy about how light the wound was, I first regretted this whole thing. If I hadn't twisted my ankle, I could have still taken the option of killing Takano-san right then and there. Probably wasn't much doubt that Takano-san was convinced that I was involved in some sort of a crime. There's a weird, humming noise in the background that's really terrifying. It's like the sound of psychosis. She knew about everything happening with Satoko. She might have even guessed I'd killed somebody. Click. Takano-san opened the passenger side door for me.
本当に肩は必要ないかしら。もう一回だけ甘えてもいいのよ。
I ignored her and answered by getting out of the car by myself. The rain was still pretty intense. I got my bicycle out of the back seat. I was a bit curious who the other bike belonged. Did she kill our photographer friend? Oh no, what if we read the news in the morning and they say they found a body? and it's our photographer friend, and this makes us go kind of crazy. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. That didn't matter right now. I let Takano-san hold the umbrella over me, and then pushed my bicycle up to the front door.
ありがとうございます。もうここまでで大
Oh
丈夫です。
god. She absolutely killed the photographer. My ankle hurt so much earlier, because why would she have a bike with her? Oh no. And it still did, but it aggravated me that I hadn't even been that bad. It was really, seriously terrible luck.
じゃあ私はこれで失礼するわね。前原くんと二人きりで夜のドライブだったなんて。
Oh my god, she super killed him.
みんなには内緒よ。特に二郎さんにはね。
He's dead. Jiro-san. Oh, she meant Toмотaki-san. I suppose she calls him by his first name. His full name must be Jiro Toмотaki then. And then, the other bike, the folding one in the back seat that I didn't care about at first, suddenly came to mind. Right? 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 Because we heard he was on a bike. Excuse me, you're from Minamizawa, right? On the day before yesterday, as I walked near the dam half asleep, Toмотaki-san had talked to me. And the bicycle he'd been riding, it was... Hey, boy!
あの後ろに積んであった自転車、富武さんのですよね。
Takano-san's eyes. Oh god, no, he's super dead. I think they sharpened for a moment.
どうしてそう思うのかしら。
This is two murderers meet in the woods.
以前に会った時見てますから、フレームも特徴的でしたし。
ふーん。でもおかしくないかしら。この自転車が二郎さんのものだなんてこと。
Oh my god, this is
あ
the
りえると
worst.
思う？
This was the worst person to meet.
おかしいって。え、
Takano-san, her hair elegantly fluttering, peers into my eyes.
だってひなみ沢には民宿なんてないのよ。なら二郎さんは町に泊まっていることになるわよね。
Okay. I didn't consider that.
そうなんですか。まあ、そうならそうなんじゃないですか。
町からひなみ沢まではとても歩いてなんか行き来できないわよね。バスだって走ってないし、せめて自転車くらいはなきゃね。
She didn't need to tell me that. That's why Jiro-san was riding a bike.
その二郎さんの自転車が私の車に積んであって、二郎さんは私の車に乗っていないなら、
Okay. You know,
おかしいじゃない。
I felt kind of smart about putting two and two together, only for the game to immediately say, I hope you put two and two together. Uh-oh.
二郎さんはひなみ沢で自転車なしってことになっちゃうわよ。二郎さんを放っておいて、自転車だけが私の車に積んであるなんてありえないでしょ。
As she spoke, Takano-san made eyes like a hawk. To a boy like me, it was terrifying. Unfortunately, I didn't really understand. What was so odd? Oh, you're stupid, stupid.
それの何がおかしいんですか。高野さんは富武さんとは仲がいいんですよね。
Some say more.
何かのようで自転車を積んであげたって別におかしいことだとは思わないですけれど。
そうじゃないでしょ。つまりこのひなみ沢において二郎さんとその自転車がバラバラに存在することはありえないということなのよ。
I think that this is her basically saying, look, buddy, we both killed someone tonight. Shut your face for both of us.
以上の理由からこの自転車が二郎さんのものであるわけがない。
Never mind, she's saying it can't be
理
his.
解できたかしら。
Takano-san's roundabout way of talking was hard to comprehend, but that eeriness I could feel, that vague dreadfulness, I didn't like it at all. But the most wild, instinctive part of me warned me not to pry.
あれは私の自転車なのよ。二郎さんに選んでもらったからセンスが似てるのは間違いないけれどね。
あ、そうだったんですか。道理で似てると。
Oh, that's a
私とあなた
CG.
は今夜出会わなかった。
Why are your boobs so weird in every art piece? You do truly have those low hangers. You got them like, what, she's like 30 or something? Ma'am, gravity assaulted you real early. I kind of feel bad for you, but on the other hand, nice. Nice. And now, she was talking about something completely different. Can I just say, with the way her eyes look here, my brain is going cat from Gravity Rush.
何を言ってるんですか？
私とあなたは今夜出会わなかった。
I stayed there, not knowing what to say, and Takano-san repeated her eerie, succinct phrase to me again.
私とあなたは今夜私とあなたは出会わなかった。
Something cold and unpleasant crawled up my spine. I knew, because I'd killed a person with my own hands before. Before, I came to the conclusion that I had only one chance to beat this woman to death to keep her quiet, and I couldn't hesitate. So I could tell that she'd arrived at the very same conclusion. My instincts warned me again. I wish I'd never met this woman. The faint sense, like a rotten smell, drifting from this woman, was no doubt the exact same sense that I was giving off right now. The very peculiar aspiration, one lacking of certainty at taking a human's life for a purpose, one that only those who had risen above everything had. Actually, maybe I should have called it nausea. It meant, I didn't know how to explain this very well, but Takano-san was the same as me. In other words, someone who shouldn't have been here. Someone I couldn't have let anybody know was here. Somebody who nobody would have wanted to see. And now that we had, we would calmly pretend as though we never met. Yes, which meant that, just like I wanted nothing else to do with her, she didn't want anything to do with me either. And she too wanted to make it so that we'd never met. Both of us wished for the same thing. Our desires were the same, which meant Takano-san's suggestion was extremely practical, and that I couldn't outright refuse.
それでいいなら、そういうことでもいいです。俺と高野さんは今夜出会わなかった。
そうよね。あなたにとってもその方がいいでしょうから。
Oh god, she super knows.
どうしてそう思うんですか？
Oh buddy, why are you pursuing this?
いちいちうるさいわね。
Oh god, that face. That's another good face.
それくらい自分で考えられないの、坊や。
Oh, dude, when the older anime lady calls me boya, it ruins me. She cut me off with the condescending word boy, right in front of my house, in a place most unsuited to killing. And yet, there was a frozen thirst for blood coming from both of us. I would be killed right here, right now. Yeah. Then I should have definitely beaten her as we passed each other. A damp, greasy sweat broke out on my body. That's fine. If you want me, then you can come any time. When I made up my mind, she shook her hair elegantly and turned on her heel.
よかったわね。私が優しい人で。
That almost sounded like her reassuring herself after she killed someone, that she didn't kill us again. Or rather, kill us next, you know. What was good? How? Because she was a kind person, was that it? I didn't get it. Takano-san got into her car. We didn't exchange any words of parting. I performed a massive feat, the killing of Satoko's uncle, and yet I didn't feel any accomplishment. On the holy night of Oyashiro-sama's curse, oh my god, this means 2 people died. Or 2 people got... Okay, wait, hold up. Okay, here's my prediction. Okay, listen. We're going to find Takano's body. Not Takano. Tomatake's body. They're going to find his body. And Shiro... I nearly called him Shiro. I've been watching people react to Fate again. And why can't I think right now? Keiichi. Keiichi is going to hear that they found a body. He's going to freak out. He's going to go and he's going to descend into madness about how everyone in town, he believes that they're all looking for him, blah, 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 blah. And then it's going to be found out that no, it was not the right body, and that they would say that Satoko's uncle had been demoned away. That's what I think. I think it's a case where they're going to find the wrong body. It's going to drive us to madness. It's going to... they're not going to find Satoko's uncle, and they will refer to him as the one who was demoned away instead. That's what I think. Very excited to be wrong. On the holy night of Oyashiro-sama's curse, on which the taking of another's life was allowed, on the terribly rainy night when the demons wandered as agents of Oyashiro-sama's will, the demons were never supposed to meet. But suddenly they did. The demons parted ways triumphantly. There was no reason for them to fight. Both their objectives had already been accomplished. With the rain hitting me like a waterfall, my eyes met with Takano-san's through the car window. The female demon, her mouth twisted into a distorted, fearless smile. It was too late to kill her. Far too late. That first moment, the very first moment we saw each other, had been my best chance. And now that we had parted like this, I was acutely aware of it. I should not have let her live. She beeped her horn quickly, then drove her car away into the deluge. The one woman who knew what really happened tonight disappeared into the dark. As long as she was alive, this night would never really end. Just get into an accident, I thought to myself. In this downpour, slip on some mud or something and fly face first into a tree and die. That wasn't a delusion, a wild flight of fantasy. It was an earnest wish. Yes, it was a command. Die, die, and keep your mouth shut for eternity, because I have no doubt you're wishing for me to die all the same. My curse upon her faded emptily as Takano-san's taillights disappeared into the utter darkness. Her car's lights were completely out of sight now. Even the sound of the engine faded into the sound of the heavy rain and was inaudible now. I too turned on my heel, to draw the curtains on this insane night, to open my front door and end it all. I began walking towards the front door. I was covered in mud and made a squishing sound with every step I took. Squish, squish. Don't worry, Keiichi Maibara. Squish, squish. She'll die. Squish, squish. Her end will be as miserable as she is. I'll throw her into some flames alive and let her dance until she's burned to a crisp. I'll burn her to ashes in the fires of hell itself until she's roasted as much as she deserves.
そう願うぜ。本気でな。
Squish. Huh? Just now, I hadn't taken a step. And yet, a footstep. Without emotion, I turned around. If there was a footprint there that wasn't my own, and it was obvious someone else was behind me. Was somebody else there? I was sick of this. Whoever it was, I was sick of everything tonight. This time, I would kill them. I'd kill them without a second thought. I wouldn't hesitate to turn around and dig another hole. But fortunately, there was nobody there. I wasn't going to have to kill any more people tonight. This night, I couldn't handle any more of it. Even if I just heard an extra footstep each time I stopped, I put it down to me just being tired. So we've heard of this before, right? The thing about when like Oyashiro-sama makes it sound like there's someone right behind you, like that there's someone right in your footsteps. We've heard this before. It was in the first chapter, right? I'm pretty sure it was. I think it was something like that. It was something close. Taking extra steps, brushed by a close encounter. We got some more tips. Y'all know what that means. It's time for your boy to become a police officer. Here he is. He's ready for action. Let's inspect what's going on. I did have a few people say, "Hey, you're wearing like the hat that you have it's good, but it's on another hat." And you're right. You're right. If I were to wear a hat normally, it would look like this. And you don't want that. So we're gonna keep it like this. Cute and small, just like me. Fire from hell. Okay?
はい、もしもし。救急ですか？消防ですか？
There was someone who burned at the very beginning. But was that scene out of order for timeline?
消防です。火事ですか？事故ですか？落ち着いて話してください。
Have you guys ever had to call the fire department? I've had to do it twice. Well, no, actually once. That's not true. I did it once. There was one time when I was driving down the highway, which, you know, like, because there's like, I used to live in a small town right outside the big city, and like there was like one highway that would like sort of stretch, you know, into the actual city there. And on my left and on my right, the grass in between the lanes of the highway was just a brush fire that was out of control. So I called it and I'm like, "Hi, I'm going north on this road. There's fire everywhere." And like, it was actually a very easy sort of thing to do. Even in the car, I let her know, like, I'm driving in my car, not right after a beer. I mean, I definitely wasn't driving in my... Listen, you didn't see anything. But no, I told her I was driving in the car, and it was quite an easy process. Now, the time that I almost thought I did was when I was recording I was going to go record a Let's Play, and then I was on a day I was off from work, and I went upstairs because I was going to go get something to eat, and then I heard a bunch of sirens, and I went outside, and I'm like, oh, the sirens they're not stopping. 2 doors down from my house was a massive house fire, and that was terrifying, because I was like, man, that's right here. I was gonna call the police, or rather the fire department, but they was literally all of them were out there putting it out. It was terrifying though.
多分火事だと思います。こちらは中部高速の柿内サービスエリアなんですけどね。裏の山からなんだかすっごい火と煙が上がってるのが見えるんですよ。
I can't really put it together, but I wonder how they do the blanks in text.
あんなところ誰も立ち入らないからなんで火がついてるのかよくわかんないですけど、とにかく連絡した方がいいと思って。
So there's fire and smoke up in the mountains.
山火事にならないとも限らないし。
Oh yeah, that's bad.
わかりました。すぐに現場を確認しますので、そちら様のお名前とすぐに連絡のつく電話番号、それから火災現場の詳細な場所をお願いします。
消防司令部より通達。G ブロック西側山斜面にて不審火の通報あり。
They specifically said G block.
街道から離れていることから、カップルの焚き火か不法投棄のゴミに放火したかの可能性があります。現場は深い森林地帯。周辺に民家はないが延焼の可能性あり。直ちに現場を確認されたし。
消防署ですか。こちらは G ブロック第3消防分隊です。
Yeah, they're specifically saying G block, so wonder why they turned it to blank district instead.
通報の現場にさっき到着。ドラム缶が一つ山中に放棄され炎上しているのを確認しました。
Okay, it was the burning
火
drum.
は鎮火しつつあり、延焼の可能性はなし。で、そのドラム缶の中に多分人じゃないかと思うんです。
That
人らしきもの
scene,
が灯油か何かで焼かれたという感じで。
that scene at the start might have been a flash forward.
その警察の人にも連絡した方がいいんじゃないかと思いまして。
Now, I'm not saying Keiichi lit a woman on fire, but I think he might have lit a woman on fire.
間違いねえよ。これ人だよ。
I don't think a well, no, I was gonna say I don't think a firefighter should react that way to, discovering a burning body, but they're probably volunteer, right? Victim of the 5th year. Let's see.
今年のたたりってことっすかね。
そういうことになるんですよ
Oh,
ね。
here he is.
毎年いろんな殺し方を見せてくれますが、今年は特に際立っていますね。
自分で自分の喉をかき破るなんて
Wait,
普通じゃないっす。
he still clawed out his own throat? Well, wait, that would imply that every time he's clawed out his own throat, it was her who did it. And she's a nurse. She could slip him the super mega weed that makes you 100 times more addicted than regular weed, and it makes you such a stoner that you shove Doritos into your throat and it kills you instantly, right? That would make sense. She would have access to those highly illegal drugs that are worse than those, let me tell you, one drug of hers is worse than 1 million pedophiles in Japan, right? Because the rules are in Japan that drugs hurt everyone in a community, but pedophiles only hurt one person, and therefore they're less bad, which is why I think we need an overhaul of the justice system in Japan, but that's just me. Okay, calm down. It's okay, don't worry, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Just venting a bit.
あとは鑑識のじい様に任せましょう。きっと何かの怪しげな薬物を検出してくれるに違いありません。
He'll find a weed.
お疲れ様です。お疲れ様です。
Why twice?
あ、おいさん、小宮山さんたちが到着しました。
大石さん、お疲れ様です。今年は一等来てるのが出たらしいじゃないですか。
裏を書かれました。私はてっきり今夜死ぬのは北条哲平だとばかり思ってたんですがね。
Are you gonna do like a check on him, or?
仏は何者です？
富武次郎。
Yeah.
年に何回かひなみ沢に来てる趣味の写真家さんです。ノーマークだったな。
どうなんでしょうね。北条宅にずっと張り付いてたのがバレて、ターゲットを変更したとか。
Wait. What? Huh? What? Whole time? What do you mean whole time? What do you mean you've been watching the target the whole... What?
かなあ。恨めったな。
Did you watch him leave, or?
北条哲平の方は何も問題なし。
ねえ、夕方頃に娘が祭りに出かけて、その少し後にバイクで出かけまして。
Who did we kill?
先に娘が帰ってきて、あれまだ帰ってないかな？
Oh wait, no, we did kill him?
どっかで飲んだくれてるのかな？
大石さんいらっしゃいますか？高杉課長からです。1号車の無線にお願いします。
So, okay, no. We killed him, right? Right? I'm scared. Okay, either we didn't kill him and we killed someone else, which would be very, very, very bad. Or, right? We did kill him and they're just now learning that he didn't come home and now they're going to go check on him and blah, 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 blah. Which, that also means that this night had 3 deaths, right? There was Toмотake, there was, Takano, and there was the Teppei Hojo, which is more than there should be. But hey, that's fine. 3, it's like, I guess it's enough, right? Are they going to say one of them got demoned away, though? I wonder. I'm terrified. I think these next chapters are going to be Keiichi having nervous breakdowns and paranoia and, all that stuff of him basically wanting to, eventually tell the truth and go crazy in prison, and then he dies in prison probably. That's what I assume. Well, would it be prison? Does Japan... I'm curious. Japan. I'm going incognito for this. I don't need this in my search history. Japan, underage, crime, punishment. What happens? The Penal Code of Japan the Penal Code of Japan provides that anyone below 14 years of age shall not be subject to penal punishment. The minimum age at which a person shall be punished of criminal liability is 14. In Japan, it is ruled that those who shall be subject to criminal procedure are 14 years or older. Okay. So there must be other things. Apparently in 2001 they revised it to be harsher on juveniles. Children as young as 11 who have committed crime have been sent to reformities. Okay. So they do still send him away. But this is also then again before 2001, so it wouldn't be as harsh at the time. But okay, they still send them away to a juvie equivalent, right? Okay, well, we'll move on with this to chapter 11 next time, guys. So thank you all for watching. I'm sure it's going to be a great time as we deal with this guilt-ridden psychosis and the worry about everyone and everything. It's going to be wonderful. We'll see you guys then for some more. Ciao. Yo.